first time speaking to an audience, and that's going to be a very prevalent theme. As lovely as you all look today, there's nothing more terrifying than actually stand in front of you and fill this auditorium with my voice after someone else much more better just filled this auditorium with their voice, which I find slightly funny and ironic because the same fear that used to stop me from doing great things stands beside me right now. And that fear never goes away. You just learn to manage it slightly better. That's all. In a moment, I'll tell you who I am, how I got in here. I have a short experiment that we are going to perform together. I hope you're very excited, that's why I bring you a chair. So if you don't mind, if you could possibly slide yourself slightly forward to your seats, right? And point your legs at 45-degree angles like this towards one of the persons sitting next to you. So move up a little bit and point your feet at 45 degrees angle. And to make it a little bit less awkward, feel free to say hi to the person sitting next to you. Just, since you're already pointing towards them. All right, we're going to get to this in a moment. I am Matt. I'm an artist by heart. I'm a maker of things by choice, and I'm a project lead and a robotics engineer by sheer luck. I only hope that my company doesn't watch this and they don't realize that I spend years on just winging it, and I have not than 30 Chrome tabs open constantly just to get things done. If you've not heard about me, that's good, because it will help me to drive the point home. And I work with industrial robots for big companies like AstraZeneca or Johnson & Johnson, delivering very big machines, complicated machines, by day and by night. Basically, I make videos online and post them online. So those are one of the roles that we delivered as a company, officially. And I guess that makes me an influencer, and now I can add a keynote speaker to my resume. I'm trying to say that, if you told me that I'll be here talking to an audience, I wouldn't believe you. Right, I have a confession to make. Getting into art school, it wasn't even my first choice. I failed a Polish exam at the end of the high school, and that delayed my university. And in order to avoid a conscript, I started art degree. It was cool. You could draw half-dressed people for your final exam, and in your 20s that makes you cool and very popular with ladies, but there is a reality check that comes later on when you're trying to find a job, and the skills of drawing half-dressed people isn't as impressive when you're in front of an interview panel and you're just trying to get a job. So over the years, my employment ranged from shifting pork chops in industrial freezers or working for online casino for a very long time. So what I'm trying to say that, well, I didn't really have much experience in pretty much anything and zero ideas what to do next. And this is not a best plan of action for when you're 33. So by the age of 33, my biggest achievement was traveling from Poland to UK on a bicycle without using GPS through Italy. That's a correlation, not causation. And outliving Jesus. So I had only two options. Option one was to carry as normal, get myself a Porsche once my midlife crisis hits in, and just deal with it. Or find myself new passion and new direction in life. I turned 42 2 days ago, right? And I still don't drive a Porsche. I guess I've picked option number 2. So I was no longer a zero, I was a zero with a hobby. It would have been probably easier to buy that Porsche, because over the next couple of years I had to learn everything. I started with electronics and programming, and then I wrote my ideas on the website, and then once that got some traction, I I started a YouTube channel, and then I managed my website, and then I had to do SEO, and then I had to do accounting, and everything a bit of everything, and it took a lot of my free time. I became a zero with a lot of self-proclaimed job titles. I wasn't particularly brilliant at any of them, but I was stubborn, I was organized, right? And, well, you would do anything to escape the boredom of working for online casino. It turns out that job dissatisfaction can be a great motivator. So one day I was trying to find an answer to my question that my project needed, and I was on the 5th page of Google search. And if you ever try to find an answer on the 5th page, you know you're on the case. And this is where I discovered one thing. I'm really good at solving problems. So I finally have some sense of direction in my life. So, do you know what is the difference between a maker and an engineer? Anyone? Documentation, lots of it. Unfortunately, lots of it. So, with the unhinged combination of end-of-the-world pandemic, that I was doing COVID, and my newly acquired sense of direction and temporarily ignoring my mega imposter syndrome, I applied for, well, I sent an email to my current employer. That was the email. I'd love to tell you that got me a job. That I leveraged my online presence and following and, I landed the job, but after being caught in a heavy traffic while driving, they called me and rapid fire 40 questions. I was stressed and answering in a language that isn't native. Well, I did not hear from them for 8 months. Long story short, after 3 follow-up interviews, I requested them because I was scared to change my life. I accepted the job offer and I started work as a technician in an industry that I had no experience in. So going from servos controlled by Arduino to trying not to punch a hole in a wall with a robot arm that is more expensive than your yearly salaries, it's a huge leap. Oh, that's me. Each day comprised of me panicking that everyone around me knows more than me, and I had to learn so much that by the end of the day, my head was going to explode. Thankfully, neither happened, so my brain is mostly intact, and Labman Automation, my company, never figured out I'm still faking it 5 years on, just on a bigger scale. So let's kind of get to the point. Some of you may probably notice the very particular theme of my talk, and you can relate to it for basically not being good enough, and not having the right skill, not feeling the courage to pursue your dreams or make changes. I can show you that this is just in your head, okay? No one knows that this is in your head. And all the people have the same thoughts, which is scary because some of them are surgeons and pilots, and I don't know how they manage to live their life. Right, I'm standing in front of you, wishing that someone actually had this talk with me 5 years ago, and told me all that I want to share with you to make that transition slightly easier. So hopefully you will learn one or two things. None of this is groundbreaking. None of this is new. But I think it's worth to iterate it. The fear. You're always going to be scared. You'll always feel like everyone around you knows so much more than you. And that doesn't go away. Over time, you just learn to use that fear to fuel you, to be better. Your skill set is unique. You are unique. There are other people that have better knowledge in one subject or another, but no one is a better expert at being you and what knowledge and skills you've acquired over your lifetime. This is your asset. Know the value of your time, and this is super difficult to learn. Don't be afraid to draw boundaries and value your time and effort. This is difficult because it will change over time. Your value will increase over time. And I used to say no to things, but over time I started to simply raise my price and figure out that I can see how much people value me without taking financial risks. So those 3 tips were very universal. The tips that actually helped me land the job in the robotics industry were the things I didn't really expect. It wasn't my following, it wasn't the fact that I'm making video, but just the simple things that I was doing anyway as a part of my process. First of all, save your ideas. No matter how excited you're going to be about your next project, you can talk about it for weeks. A year down the line, you forget about it. I have a notebook, which I revisit for my pure amusement, to see the projects I completely forgot about they existed. Or maybe it's just me, I'm getting old. Document is the second point, and you can be the most brilliant engineer, but if you can't keep the track of your work, you won't get far. Engineering is a team sport. And, well, if you don't explain your ideas, keep track of your fails and successes, you'll be quickly outperformed by teams that do. Communication is the most important skill in engineering, and it's not your CAD skills, it's not programming, it's the collaboration that gets the projects over the line and within the budget. Project manage your hobby. And I know this is a weird one, right? Who's gonna project manage, I don't know, an upgrade to a 3D printer? This is insane. However, if you can showcase that you can plan the project from start to finish, through the budgeting, through the procurement phase, through reports of your progress and updates, you'll be miles ahead of the engineering students. That will help impress the recruiting panel. And honestly, if you project manage and the process of upgrading a 3D printer, you can probably write a nice draft for the project management for £800,000 robot that works in the medical field. Believe me, I've done that. It's terrifying. Don't stop at 80%. I know it's easy to get your project to 80% and then say like, you know what, this is good enough. It's fine, it works 80% of the time, that's fine. Get in the habit of getting it to 100%. Even if you fail. Why? If you don't document things, if you don't make a record of what went well and what went wrong, you will never learn and you will waste that time over something that never took off the ground. Engineering is about iterating imperfect designs until perfection, which Simon excellently showcased with the hanger. Don't be afraid to revisit all the projects. It shows dedication to your passion, to your projects, and that you want to improve and you strive for perfection. Also, don't limit yourself to a familiar field. There is a saying, jack of all trades, master of none. Well, that's a half of it. The other half is, but oftentimes it's better than a master of none. Meaning that, well, I know it's tempting not to learn something when you work in a team full of experts, but trust me, 10% of the knowledge gets you 80% over the line of the project. And if you've got those skills in various disciplines, you're going to be the best tool in the toolbox. And lastly, network. People that you're going to meet today, they're not going to be the people that you meet in 5 years. Take advantage of who you know, because these people down the line can help you. But most importantly, regardless of your age, never feel it's too late to change. You have one life. Dying with regret is possibly scarier than trying to compete against engineering students in their 20s for the same job. Oh, we had an experiment. I completely forgot about it. So, congratulations. You probably networked. You introduced yourself to another human today. Make a friend. It's going to be useful. We've done that. I've achieved a goal of doing completely something outside of my comfort zone to prove myself that I can do this. I don't know how well I did it, but it's nearly done. We are almost at the end of my talk. And I made promise to Seed Studio that I'm going to keep you at the edge of your seats for the duration of my talk. And I think I can accomplish that as well, so thank you so much for that. So, 3 out of 3 in bad. Thank you so much. Go on.